5 daughters in 7 years of marriage, and pregnant again. She didn't want to, but it never was her decision. Of course, it was her fault that she couldn't bear an heir. She had to go on trying. But this time they would make sure. Sex determination of the unborn baby, that was the answer. It was a girl again. It had to be aborted. The neighborhood dai would do it for a few hundred rupees. The dai did the job on her without bothering about the advanced state of pregnancy. By the time the doctor reached, she had bled to her death. The law took its course, but her daughters are orphaned, fending for themselves in a society that only reluctantly feeds its girl children.
Every human being is entitled to complete physical, mental and social health. In India, however, gender bias against the woman disadvantages her from the time she is born till the end of her life, ensuring that she never achieves her optimum level of health.
Consider these scientifically proven facts. Women are biologically stronger than men, are less prone to heart attacks in their reproductive age, can absorb greater levels of stress than men. Yet India has considerably less women than men. Where have these women gone? Our society has wished them away simply by neglecting them, their health.
Women who are biologically stronger do not survive longer than men in India because of other forms of discrimination, right from feticide onwards.
Narbada works as a maidservant. Her husband is a laborer. Both share almost equally in running the household. But Narbada considers it her sacred duty to feed the entire family and her husband before settling down to eat what is left over.
घर में पानी लाता, पानी के मटका गट्टे पीसते हैं, नाज को पीस के खाना पकाता, लकड़ी बीन के लाता, सब्जी बनाता, फिर सब्जी बना के सब आदमी बिठा के पहले बच्चे रोटी खा लेते, बच्चे का बाप खा लेता है, फिर मैं खा लेती।
कुछ बचता है आपके लिए?
बचता है ना, थोड़ा बहुत तो बचता ही है।
आप इतना काम करती हैं, घर का इतना ज़्यादा काम करती हैं, फिर भी थोड़ा सा ही खाती हैं।
अभी क्या करें, तो बच गए बच्चे के खाते खाते बच जाओ तो बच जाओ, नहीं बचे तो क्या करें।
They are poor folk, and frequently what's left over is not enough. Within most Indian households, the status of the man in the family dictates that he be entitled to the lion's share of food. Women usually make do with what is left over.
Many women do not have 2 square meals a day. They're not able to have 2 full square meals a day. And that is really detrimental. They have highly unbalanced diets because of poverty and the fact that they eat last and the fact that they cannot spend that amount of money maybe, and also that nobody cares.
Over a period of time, this leads to undernourishment and malnutrition. Malnutrition is a significant contributor in the generally low health status and mortality of women. 80% of Indian women are anemic. A woman has special nutritional needs because of the tremendous physical labor that she puts in every day and the health hazards she is exposed to.
Since a lot of girls are expected to do the cooking, so the burning and the smoke of that, because we use a lot of wood and all for cooking in the rural areas. So they are the ones, so our women, so because by that time you see the cumulative effect when she grows up. So what is called chronic obstructive lung disease, you see it's equivalent to smoking, some people say 20 packs a day, literally.
But just as her labor goes unacknowledged, so does her need for nutrition and a healthy work environment. Thus, the process of weakening is unrelenting and continuous.
Hindu belief systems deify the mother image of the woman as Devi. She is the embodiment of Shakti. She bestows knowledge and even prosperity on everybody. Ironically, when it comes to real-life situations, it is her gender that is deemed to be her drawback. Every neglect, every discrimination that she faces through life stays with her in the form of ill health. It is on her way to motherhood that the cumulative effect of this neglect is most manifest.
More maternal deaths occur in India in 1 week than in all of Europe in a year. Narbada is caught in a vicious circle. She was married off young and completely unaware of the rites of consummation.
जब आप गोना करके घर आई थी तो आपको शादी के बारे में कुछ पता था?
नहीं, मेरे को पता नहीं है, शादी का पता ही नहीं बिल्कुल। अब मेरे तो छोटे छोटे कोई पढ़ना देते हैं, शादी कर देता है छोटे छोटे, कैसे पता नहीं पड़ता है
कि होता क्या है शादी का मतलब क्या होता है।
हाँ, क्या होता नहीं, गुण में पता पड़ता है।
बेटी की जब शादी होगी तो आप उसको बताएंगे शादी का क्या मतलब होता है?
कुछ नहीं बताएंगे हम कुछ नहीं बताएंगे। उसकी सहेलियाँ हैं, भाभियाँ हैं, हमारे में थोड़ा शर्म की ऐसा बातें कुछ नहीं बताई जाती हैं।
Besides, a traditional Indian upbringing in rural areas invariably meant a neglected and undernourished childhood for a young Narbada. This, coupled with her unripe age, meant that her physique severely restricted the chances of an unobstructed delivery.
When a young girl gets pregnant, she's exposed to all the hazards of pregnancy-related complications because she's not ready to be pregnant at that age, and she can even lose her life. And if she gets repeatedly pregnant, then she gradually gets more and more anemic, and she loses blood each time she gets pregnant, and then before she's able to regain her strength, she gets pregnant again.
What kind of baby could she give birth to? Perhaps severely deficient, underweight and sickly, with very little chance of survival.
For the development of the fetus, the nutrition is important. And the nutrition intake as well as the nutritional status of the mother plays a key role for the health of the fetus. And naturally, if the fetus grows well, it has a better health when it is newborn or subsequently.
Luckily, the baby survived, and so did the mother. She has since borne 6 more babies. Her weakened state aggravated by the fact that she never received the nutrients and rest she required to have a safe and healthy pregnancy.
तो जब आप पेट से थी, जब बच्चे होने वाले थे, तो कोई ज़्यादा अच्छा खाना खाते थे कि जो रोज़ खाते वही खाते थे?
मैं रोज खाता तो ही खाता, कहाँ मिलता अच्छा खाना।
A woman who was 12 grams hemoglobin or 13 grams can take a lot more stress and strain than a woman who comes to labor with 5 grams and 3 grams. And that's why we have a maternal death. Otherwise, in all the other countries that are with good medical aid, they don't have a maternal death. It's considered to be a disgrace to lose the mother.
Main causes of maternal deaths. 30% of all maternal deaths are due to anemia. 15 to 20% of Indian women are shorter than the WHO minimum of 145 centimeters and so are at risk of death due to obstructed labor. Women in India gain only 3 to 4 kilograms during pregnancy as compared to the average of 10 kilograms in developed countries. Pregnant women are deficient in their dietary intake by 1100 calories. Narbada was lucky to survive all the 7 births.
बच्चे सारे वहाँ गांव में ही पैदा हुए थे?
सभी गांव में हुआ।
तो वहाँ पे कोई डॉक्टर है, हॉस्पिटल है?
हाँ, मेरे तो घर में ही होता।
और कौन कोई दाई थी?
हाँ, एक और
दाई है?
हाँ।
तो आके करती?
हाँ।
अच्छी तरह से करती?
अच्छी तरह से। एक भी बच्चा नहीं हुआ मेरे, उल्टा सीधा सीधा हुआ।
पर दूसरी औरतों का हुआ होगा कभी?
दूसरे का तो हाँ, दूसरे का तो होया होएगा, क्या पता। मेरे तो नहीं तो मरिया, सब जंदे ही है मेरे तो।
अच्छा, और आपके गांव में आपने ऐसा सुना नहीं था कि कभी कभी हो जाता है माँ भी मर जाती है कभी?
हाँ, मरती तो है ना।
तो आपकी बहू के साथ क्या हुआ था, बता दें।
बहू के साथ जी वही होगा कि मैं गलती से अस्पताल नहीं पहुंची हूँ, तो बच्चा वो घर में पैदा हुआ और तुरंत ख़त्म हो गया है, हैं। और दूसरी बहू का हुआ तो उसको लेके गए, तो वहाँ अच्छी तरह से बच्चा भी हुआ, मदद भी अच्छी तरह से करी, अच्छी तरह से देखभाल भी हुआ, दवाई भी, और बेआबा बच्चा लेके अभी गोदी में है, खेल रहा है। और उसको ले जाती तो वो भी गोदी में होता।
Because the bone, the pelvic bone is smaller, that the head of the baby getting stuck, which is called cephalopelvic disproportion. Pelvis and the cephalo, that means head of the baby, there's a disproportion. This baby will never get born unless there's a cesarean section or surgery done. Most of these girls will never be brought to a referral center. And parents will never have the money, they will never have the transport organized. And this girl, you know what you say, tadap tadap ke marna.
In India, a woman's chances of dying during pregnancy are 1 in 18, and the maternal mortality rate of 437 per 100,000 live births is among the highest in the world. Often, the birth of a girl means mental torture for the mother.
Postnatally, if she's had a girl, I mean, really, you know, she's so pressurized from everywhere and she feels like a worm. You know, she really feels awful because there's so many expectations of her and from everyone, from her husband, from her in-laws, even from her parents and from, you know, people all around her. And it's like when a girl is born, all those expectations are totally shattered. So for her, it's a terribly psychologically draining and a very depressing experience.
Almost invariably, she is forced into another pregnancy by the family aspiring for a male child.
It's very difficult for them to accept family planning if they've got no male children. I mean, we've had earlier experiences of women having 7, 8, 9, 10, you know, girl children, and they will just not think of family planning till that male child finally arrives.
Shorna is 33 years old. She has 7 daughters and is pregnant with her 8th child.
कितने बच्चे हैं आपके?
7 लड़ती हैं।
अच्छा, तो अब फिर से आपने करा?
अब ऐसे ही
क्यों किया?
आदमी है चेहरा ऐसे ही ना तैता लड़ता चाहिए, इसलिए।
Every pregnancy results in the depletion of a woman's health, and she needs time to make up for the lost nutrients.
आपको लगता है कि आपके शरीर को मतलब इतने बच्चे होने से कुछ कमजोरी हुई है?
बहुत ज़्यादा।
कैसे?
जैसे ये हाथ पैर बड़ा दर्द हो रहा है, ये छुन हो रहा है, सारे हाथ पैर बहुत ज़्यादा। अब की बार बहुत मतलब परेशान उठा रही हूँ।
This is cheerfully disregarded.
Everything goes wrong with her if she has too many babies. It's like overusing any machine. It gets exhausted and worn out.
If she gets repeatedly pregnant, then she gradually gets more and more anemic, and she loses blood each time she gets pregnant, and then before she's able to regain her strength, she gets pregnant again. And maternal mortality can be really high in cases where you have, you know, you're underage. And for the child that's been born, the child hardly gets any time to receive adequate maternal care and attention. And before that's happened, the next one is ready to come along. The child doesn't get adequate breast milk at times. The child doesn't get the attention and the food that is needed for the child to grow. So you have a sick mother with a whole lot of sick children to look after.
After their children were born, both Shorna and Narbada resumed their household and outside duties almost immediately, giving their weakened bodies no time to recover.
तो जब बच्चा पैदा हो गया था तो उसके बाद कितनी जल्दी काम शुरू कर दिया था?
15 महीने खंड में ही काम चालू कर देता। 22 महीने का हो यार, चलो काम करो।
तो और कोई मतलब आराम करने का समय नहीं?
कोई नहीं, आराम करने का कोई नहीं। मतलब
क्यों होता है ऐसा?
घर में काम करने वाला नहीं है तो काम करने ही पड़े।
बच्चे के कितनी देर बाद शुरू कर देंगे बाहर जाना?
कैसे 15 दिन 20 दिन ऐसे।
आपको नहीं लगता कि थोड़ी और आराम की ज़रूरत होती है आपको?
लगता तो है जी, सब तो ही लगता है ऐसे सॉरी।
फिर क्यों नहीं होता?
बस फिर खाने वाले इतने कमाने वाला ये है।
Their repeated pregnancies are often not of their own choice.
फिर आपको लगता है अच्छा लगता है कि इतने बच्चे हैं आपके?
नहीं जी, बस ऐसे ही खाने पीने के लिए तो होता नहीं है।
तो लड़का क्यों ज़रूरी समझते हैं?
मुझे ये ना सास नंद ऐसी ही हमारी।
वो कहते हैं
लड़का तो सब तो ही चाहिए होता है ना।
They have no say in the matter and are usually unaware of the methods of contraception.
और आगे और बच्चे ना हो तो इसके लिए क्या किया आपने?
कुछ नहीं।
ऑपरेशन करा?
हाँ।
तो पहले कुछ नहीं करते थे, निरोध वगैरह ऐसा कुछ?
नहीं नहीं, कुछ नहीं कराया था।
आपको पता नहीं था कि ऐसी चीज़?
कुछ भी नहीं कराया था।
Where family planning is practiced, there are other problems. The government's family planning programs generally address the woman, leaving the responsibility at her door.
Earlier on, 11% of the sterilizations were tubectomy. That means rest were vasectomy. By 1993, 96% of the sterilizations became tubectomy. Only 4% vasectomy. So from issues of contraception related to one's own wife, the withdrawal of the whole male involvement in this has been a cause of very, very deep concern.
Only 3 to 4% men practice contraception.
We have only 3% male participation in family planning in India, which is a very depressing thought. And you notice that women have very few rights. So if this is one step by which they can save their own lives and live a better life, then they go in for sterilization because they know the reality of 9 months of your body being depleted of basic nutritions repeatedly hurts. So they would rather go and opt for sterilization because the male partners don't do it.
A more sinister facet of this is when abortions are used as an alternative to contraception, especially if the child is found to be a girl through sex determination tests that proliferate in cities and small towns.
About 20% of the women die because of abortion-related causes. Unsafe abortion going here, there. Delayed abortion because of sex determination, female fetus, because you misuse of ultrasound to see the sex of the baby and then go ahead for the abortion. This is delayed. Legally, under the MTP Act, 12 weeks, before 12 weeks should be allowed. But the fact is, anyone who does not want to have a child should be using contraceptives, should not be forcing the woman to have repeated abortions.
Social attitudes are the most resilient to change. Therefore, even if the number of people availing the services offered by health centers show huge gains, just a cursory look makes the gender bias obvious. Less girls and women than men and boys avail these facilities. Besides, they are brought in only at advanced stages of illness.
A lack of awareness, combined with the time she spends on childcare, housework, and outside employment, work to deny the woman any time to think about her health. The lack of basic healthcare facilities in rural areas are another drawback.
हॉस्पिटल किधर है?
हॉस्पिटल जहाँ बड़ा गांव पड़ता है, शेर जहाँ हॉस्पिटल पड़ता है।
कितनी दूर है?
बोल तो रही हूँ, मेरे किराया का लगता है 8 रुपए एक जने का, जितनी दूर पड़ता है हॉस्पिटल।
Maybe certain difficulties for the women to come out of their families and come to the center. Sometimes the communication may be less. So by and large, it is observed that because of these reasons, the girls and the women tend to utilize our services less.
And since the woman is considered a liability anyway, the amount of money and time spent on her health by the other family members is negligible.
In fact, it is well known that people who take their cattle to the doctor and not their women, because the cattle is an economic asset. And if a woman dies, you can always have another wife. You can always buy another wife. No, you can always get yourself another bride. So it's the low status of women. It's this whole value that you put on a woman's life. That is why women are not taken to, for good health care on time.
Even for a surgery, I remember when I was working in a hospital and we said to this man, khoon chahiye. And he says, marti hai to marne to khoon nahi denge. They won't even let their sons give blood. And the women themselves will not allow it. They will not, your husband ka nahi lena hai, ladke ka nahi lena hai. And I suppose I've seen patients who are bleeding, who need to have medical care, but the man wants her to go to work, so she goes to work, because that income is necessary, and he hasn't got time to give her time to the hospital. I've seen this.
Societal taboos, long distances, and programs insensitive to her needs dissuade her from taking the initiative to go on her own.
If you're going to have males sitting at a time when she's supposed to cook and feed, during that time, in a faraway hospital in a PHC, and expect that she's going to come at that time for her health problems, it will not happen. And she will be able to talk to another woman, because of gynecological and all this kind of thing, it's not possible. So, and it has to be a time which is suitable to her. It cannot be at a time when she's expected to take care of her.
Women are perceived as childbearers and little else, and consequently the issue of their health, if at all considered, is equated with pregnancy, fertility control, and childbirth, and the other aspects of their health are grossly neglected.
More women die due to infection than die due to maternal causes. And there's a study that has been done in Haryana, and that is done where they have found that 80% of the deaths of women in the reproductive age group is due to non-maternal reasons.
The discrimination in facilities, nutrition and care that a woman receives through her life impinge on her ability to be a healthy mother of healthy children, but they also serve to deny her the quality of life she deserves.
Public debate continues to highlight the importance of adopting a holistic approach to women's health as a basic human right. The critical nature of effective health care for women is being rapidly understood as a forerunner to the health of the nation as a whole. Government policies that earlier focused only on the reproductive health of women are now broad-based, and action originating within the community is the new approach to better health.
There is an abundance of laws and policies dealing with the issues of women's health, and they have been successful in many areas.
We have a very good advancement even in the life expectancy. Today, on an average, for our female, it is more than 62 years. Whereas for the man, it is only 61 years. So this is because also the better health care which are being provided for the women. And I'm sure with the launching of our reproductive and child health program, even this issue of female mortality during reproductive is going to be tremendously reduced. I am expecting that the life expectancy of women will further increase, maybe more than the man.
But the only way to effect change in the status of women vis-à-vis health is to promote awareness and education, removing prejudices and stressing the importance of hygiene, good nutrition, care and rest for women, who are the backbone of the community. Moving beyond mere rhetoric and guaranteeing to women real dignity and a respect for their contribution to society. Vimla is a health worker with an NGO. She was an ordinary woman living in the Basti.
आप पहले क्या करती थी?
पहले तो मैं घर में रहती थी। बच्चे हैं मेरे पास, 5 बच्चे हैं, बच्चों को पालती थी, एक छोटी बेटी है मेरे पास, उसको भी रखती थी, घर में रखती थी, पूरे परिवार के देखभाल करती थी। हमारे बीच में तो एक दिन डॉक्टर आई थी, उसने कुछ कहती तुम्हारे बस्ती में कुछ काम करना चाहते हैं, कुछ देखना चाहते हैं, कोई डिस्पेंसरी खोलना चाहते हैं। तो यहाँ का जो प्रधान था, हमारा आदमी था, वो सेक्रेटरी था पहले, तो उनने बताया था ठीक है जी आओ देखो। हम उनकी हेल्प करी और उनसे बात करी तो एक छोटी सी झुग्गी में डिस्पेंसरी खोली थी। 3 महीने की ट्रेनिंग दी थी हमको, सब कुछ सिखाया था।
She starts her rounds in the morning, visiting house to house, performing simple checkups.
घर घर में जाते हैं या सब औरतों से मिलते हैं, सबसे बात करते हैं। जैसे होम विजिट के जिसको बोलते हैं, होम विजिट जैसे घर में जाकर करते हैं, देखते हैं सबको। किसके घर में कोई बुखार है, किसके घर में कोई बच्चा जैसा हुआ है, उसको माँ को दूध नहीं आ रहा बार बार, उसकी कोई परेशानी है, या किसको कोई लंबी बीमारी, उसको कोई परेशानी है, कोई भी उसको समस्या होती है तो उससे हम पूछते हैं। वो हमको अपनी हालात सारी बताती है, जैसे उसको परेशानी होती है, जो भी उसको दुख या तकलीफ होता है उसके बारे में जैसे हमको बताएगी, उसी हिसाब से हम उसको दिखाएंगे जाकर।
Since she and her colleagues have been working in the Basti, the maternal and infant mortality rates have reduced, nutrition and hygiene have improved, and several families have adopted family planning.
पहले से बदलाव इतना है दीदी, जैसे पहले अगर 100 बच्चे होते थे तो अब हमारे कम से कम उनमें 75 बच्चे होते हैं, आधे ही होते हैं। इतने बच्चे मतलब पहले जितना होता था इतना नहीं। अब तो जैसे महीने में 8 डिलीवरी हो रही है, या 10 हो रही है, या 15 हो रही है, 20 हो रही है। अब तो हम इक्के दुक्के ढूंढते हैं, कहीं 3 मिलती हैं, कहीं 2 मिलती हैं, कभी कभी 1 ही मिलती है, कभी कभी 1 भी नहीं मिलती है।
The Basti dwellers are now conscious of the vital need for maintaining the health of their women. This is the story of one Basti in one city. But if efforts like these can be replicated and women like Vimla awaken to their own abilities to effect change, the quality of life of future generations is assured.